Awesome. Awesome. Very good. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get started. I want to go through some content that I know you all will really enjoy, and it'll really help kind of make sense, regardless of where you're at in the program. It'll help kind of piece together the debt management side of things, debt settlement, if that's applicable. It's going to help kind of piece that together, as well as budgeting with money mastery and how that's going to look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. I have a very short PowerPoint on this because I want to do a lot of share screen. So I'm going to kind of going back and forth, but one moment here. Perfect. And then we'll go ahead and press play. Okay, perfect. So I created this PowerPoint to kind of have something to go off of. And like I said before, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of break down some key components that all play a very important role in the program, as well as debt management and all that. Okay. Now, the one thing I want to talk about real quick, and feel free to jump in the chat. I'll open up my chat to make sure I can see that. So I imagine all of you are set up through Smart Credit right now. I'm assuming. Is that correct? I see people shaking their head, everything. Okay, cool. So this is why I want to make sure everyone understands why we utilize Smart Credit. One, it's a preferred option because it allows us and you, but we use it as a tool to access a detailed 3-bureau report and all the details. So that way we have awareness and clarity of what's going on throughout the program. That's so important. That's a big reason why we kind of push back a little bit on like Credit Karma and stuff, because you're not getting everything you need. Like for instance, Credit Karma is 2 bureaus, limited data. It's more of a summary. It doesn't give you the clarity that you actually need to even work on your report. So that's a big reason. But I want to talk about some really cool things that Smart Credit provides additionally that I highly recommend that you utilize if you are not yet utilizing it. Okay. So definitely allow our team to pull the 3-bureau report at the right time at the end of your round. Okay. Because our team will do a full audit, what's changed, what it looks like, what we're doing next, and then our recommendations of what you should be doing next as well. But on top of that, Smart Credit Report is the single bureau report. Here are some reasons why I like using that as a coach with our clients. There could be times, like for instance, that maybe you received like an alert from an online credit monitoring and you're kind of wondering what's going on, or you're newer in the process, right? You've been in with us, maybe you're in your second round or something like that, first round, and you're just kind of wondering like, hey, what's going on? What's nice about this Smart Credit Report, it's a single bureau report that you can pull. Technically, it's unlimited at any time throughout the month. Keep in mind, I can't remember the total amount. I think it might be 20 or something like that. If you hit 20 in a month, you do have to call in and they'll open up more to you. So it is unlimited, but there really should be no reason to pull 20 within a month anyways. But anyways, it's a nice tool because I use this for my clients all the time. Like if we end up scheduling a coaching call, let's say, and we're in the middle of a round or maybe like a week or 2 weeks out from an end of a round, and I'm just kind of curious to see if there's any movement, I'll pull that single bureau pull just to get an idea of what's going on, in case anything that pops out that's worth us knowing. It might be forecasting out some positive changes, which is sweet. But then on top of that, it might also show us like if something did randomly pop on in the middle of a round that you got an alert of, we can take a look at that and then decide, hey, is this something that we want to make sure we address in the next round? Or is it something that maybe, meaning our team would adjust through investigation, or maybe it's something that we would advise on to then settle, right? So there's certain things that we'd want to make sure that's really nice about the single bureau Smart Credit pull. Another really cool feature is the money manager. I don't know if you guys have logged in there, but what's really cool is there is almost like an introductory awareness tool of helping sync up your overall payment dates in your accounts. And so it'll help you to receive additional alerts to make sure you're not delinquent or late on any debts within your credit report. So it's actually really cool, and it gives you more insight as to certain spending habits within the report itself. This is all included. That's what's really cool about what we secured with Smart Credit. We literally secured all the bells and whistles at the discounted rate for our clients, which is really, really, really nice. So I wanted to spend a little time to highlight that so you guys understand the reason why we use that and why it's our preferred tool. But the most important thing that I wrote here is this: online credit monitoring equals awareness. Okay? That's exactly what it is. Because once again, we all know this. Some of you were on my last workshop for the mortgage workshop, and I talked about this. Our program is more than repair, So in order for us to be able to, oh, let me mute. Sorry there. So sorry if I mute you, just so that way everyone can hear and everything. That's why in our program we make sure that we're always honing in on repair, of course, strategic credit building, and debt management. Well, we need awareness of what's going on in these two areas as to how it's impacting your profile and scores. Here's something that I love to tell my clients because it's so true. If you see your Vantage scores improving, what do you think your FICO scores are doing? They're going up. Yes, they're different scoring algorithms, and yes, the numbers are different, but it's a very positive sign. That's something to me that I like to tell my clients because it's very easy to get caught up in the different scoring algorithms and getting confused and all that. But here's the thing: lean on us on when to move forward when it comes to lending and all that. That's the whole point. But what's nice is if you see improvement, it's across the board, which I think is super powerful. All right, now I'm going to talk a little bit about repair. Not a ton, but I want to talk to it specific as to how it's going to relate in the program to debt settlement, okay? So let me just ask real quick, if you feel comfortable sharing. You don't have to give details, but how many of you in here right now in the program have any collections or charged off accounts with balances that you're going to want to be prepared to settle? I'll open up my chat. Okay, perfect. Michelle says I do. Now keep in mind, most people do. Okay, awesome.
I do.
Yep. Brittany, Michelle, Trishanda. Love it. Stephanie.
Oh, right.
Lakiva, it sounds like.
Yes.
Tyler and Kelly. Okay, cool. There we go. Perfect. So I want to make sure. Yeah, this is huge then. All right. So with that being said, here's something that's important to know. So utilizing Credit Life, what's one thing that we do that's very different from other companies is we utilize both credit bureau investigation strategies as well as direct to creditor and collection strategies when it's applicable. It's not just bureau, okay? And so the reason why we do that is on the bureau side, what we're looking to do there is we're strategically challenging accounts, the reporting history and aspects within that in a way that's shown to be difficult based on the history in that account and all the details. It's done in a way to ultimately is more difficult to verify, and at any point the creditor in question is unable to, the credit bureaus delete that off the report, repair or delete, because no longer valid verifiable information. They can no longer sell it because the bureaus sell our information for a fee. That's how they make their money. And as it's coming in, there's no real verification process happening. It's very streamlined. So that's what we're working within is the Fair Credit Reporting Act law that gives us the right, but the responsibility falls on the client or on the person to do that. So on the bureau side, we're strategically challenging the history, okay? Now, when it comes to the creditor or collection company, typically what we're doing there is a little bit different. On the collection side, this is where we work within FDCPA, okay? It's another set of laws that comes with the collecting, basically. We want to make sure that if you have some collections, we want to challenge in a way the validity and their ability to collect on it initially to see what they got, okay? So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll challenge them directly, in which some clients, in fact, I don't know, I can't recall, but I think someone on here, oh, sorry. Let me see if I can mute there so it's a little bit easier. We've had some clients where this doesn't happen every time. I'm just saying it can happen, where some clients receive a response on a direct collection company where they've decided, hey, we're no longer going to collect on this debt. and they're not selling it off. They're done. And the reason why that may happen is there's times that if they literally, let's say they purchase a debt in a large bundle. There we go. I think there we go. If they purchase a debt in a large bundle, and if they don't have the proper information to validate their ability to even collect on it, they then may opt in to say, hey, we're no longer collect on this debt. We're moving on. That may happen. It has happened, and that's if that does, that's a huge win. But also what it opens up the door is it opens up an opportunity for us to see how they went about validating that debt. And based on that response, we can then use that in our investigations follow-up to continue to challenge that. We use that as information to strengthen our follow-up investigations. Now, remember, the credit repair aspect is very important, of course. We're trying to repair as much of our past that's negative, that's weighing us down. But that is one part of the process. It does not mean that that alone will get you to your goals. It's like a bonus. It helps us get there faster. But that's why you'll see tonight and moving forward, you're going to see a ton, why I spent a lot of time on the debt management credit building, because that will directly result in you getting to your goals long-term, short-term, and long-term. And the repair, boom, gets us there faster, okay? Now, here's the rule of thumb. Now, when I say rule of thumb, this is for most, but it is always, trust me when I say this, it is always specific to your situation. This is why open communication with my team and I is very important, so we understand that, so we're always maneuvering specific to what's best for you. But rule of thumb is usually we're going to want to investigate collections 1 to 4 rounds, okay? 1 to 4 rounds is very important. That to me is like the first phase. We're really hyper-focused on repairing as much as possible. And then based on what gets deleted, that let's say it was a collection or charged off account with a balance, we have an accounting of that, which then we would educate you and recommend, hey, this was removed with the balance. This may be something that we look to now to start settling out. Okay, which is super powerful because once it's deleted, your credit's improved, your position has improved, and now the sole focus is to settle for the least amount possible. I'm going to talk about that tonight, how to do that, okay? That's super powerful. It's more powerful than payment for deletion all day long, okay? And I'll talk more about that later too. Now, same thing, school loans. School loans are not treated the same way. It just depends. Now, if it's a federal loan versus a private loan, the private in a way would, okay? Private loan would fall under charged off accounts. It's unsecured debt, which in that case, yes, we would still attempt to remove and then settle just because there's typically not the same programs available to get out of default with a unsecured private student loan. But if it's federal, yes. Is there opportunities to get deleted, and will we attempt that? Yes, of course, all day long. But the programs around federal loans to get out of default is much better. We have rehabilitation, which I help clients do all the time. Our team does. There's options of doing certain types of consolidation to get you out of default into good standing that way. There's a lot of things there. So usually if someone has defaulted loans, we're going to want to figure out the best solution, one, to get in good standing there, but then also how to repair. So it is a little bit different. Charged off accounts. Now that is going to be something that is in collection, but not yet reported separately as a collection, if that makes sense. It will usually show up with the original creditor within your credit report as a charged off profit and loss, okay? It's very important to know this. When you review a credit report, obviously we're doing this on your behalf, but I think it's important for you all to do this as well. When you take a look at your credit report, you're going to notice that below a collection, when it comes to payment history, you're not going to see payment history. You're not going to see details for that. Because technically, when an account has been sent to collection, it is a derogatory debt, there are no payment terms. It is a debt that's outstanding and owed. There's no terms. So therefore, they're not going to report if you're on time or late, because that's not even a thing anymore. That's the reason why you'll notice that under a charged off account, you'll see a history, let's say, of I was on time, maybe I went through a hardship in my life, had some late payments that ultimately led to that creditor writing it off as a profit and loss, charging it off, and you see that change. Now, it's important to understand that once that happens, the coding of that account, the type of account, has now changed too. So it will change to a CO coding, charged off. Okay. Now, those are more difficult to get deleted, and doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It happens, it does. But that's one that when it comes to ranking, we're going to talk about this later, of debt settlement, I'm going to help you all identify the ranking of certain types of accounts when it comes to lending. We'll guide you of that along the way, of course, but I want to empower you with that education so you know what to expect, because charged off accounts will be typically higher ranking for debt settlement if remaining on the report than, let's say, another collection. Also, dependent on your length of time in the program and where we're at, if at any point we do decide to settle out an account that is still reporting, obviously there'd be a reason for it. There are opportunities for what I call post-settlement investigations. And so that is something we do as well in the program. Just remember, though, it is proven. I mean, we've literally helped thousands of people. It is proven attempting to delete first and then settling as a whole is better. But once again, if for any reason we decide to pull the trigger on settlement, or let's say before you started with us, you did that already without knowing, we do still have opportunity there through investigations to do post-settlement investigations to attempt to delete that way. Okay, let me see here. See if I can get it. Okay, cool. All right, now we're getting into it, okay? So debt management, what does that mean? Debt management to me is this: debt reduction strategies, debt settlement, and budgeting, okay? Real quick, it looks like Kimberly has a question. Should a car that was repoed, then brought current and returned, keep reporting as a charge-off after the car was returned? Typically, yes. And the reason being is that when an accreditor charges that off, what they're doing is they're writing it off as a profit and loss in their tax liability. And so once that act has happened, they're not going to go back and revert that and change that. And so what happens in a repossession, they'll do that. And a lot of times what they're going to do is, actually, this is what was amazing about debt settlement specific with repos. There's actually a ton of room for settling for a very low amount. And the reason being is that when it goes back, the car goes back in, they usually sell that off on auction. That should go against your overall debt load of what's owed. But then on top of that, they've actually written off that total amount as well towards their tax liability to mitigate their tax burden. So they now have one in two different ways. Technically, they can still pursue the remaining balance, but it is opened up a very large portion to settle for a very low amount, because really anything they get on top of that is a huge win. Okay. Oh, so sorry. I apologize. I read that wrong. You got the car back. Okay. So at that point, you brought it current based on what was owed. Now it depends. Did you pay it off in full, or did you just bring it current and then continue to make payments on it? Not in full, I'm assuming. So that's interesting. Usually, if you worked with the lender, the creditor directly, and you were able to bring it back into good standing and full based on what they needed to bring it out of that status, they should revert that and go back into good standing. So what I would recommend doing there, the first step is to reach out to them directly. You're going to want to get something from them either over the phone or in writing, ideal, that you're in repayment and you're in good standing, because that then can be used with the bureaus to get that changed and updated. So hopefully I gave a lot there for everyone. Hopefully you all kind of took in the difference between the two. Okay, perfect. So debt management, the presence, it's the present, it's your moment. That's how I'm looking at it. It's debt reduction, debt settlement, budgeting, okay? Now, one thing I like to bring up with clients is payment history. You know, this sounds, I wrote it right here. This one sounds so easy, right? When people say, yeah, make your payments on time, it's like, well, of course. But here's the thing. a lot of our clients that we're working with, we're reestablishing debt, we're credit building, we're getting on track. You're going to find there's actually a lot to this of just simply making payments on time, getting that spending plan, getting those financial disciplines in place. That alone actually takes a lot of work because dependent on your situation, that may be very different in how you were having to manage debt. So just remember, it's like you just want to make sure that you always want to. This is why the money mastery piece can be so amazing, is that it's going to allow you to spend with a plan where you are able to do that easier, because we know payment history is it's the highest portion of the score. So over time, the more we can build positive payment history, the better it is going to be for you. Now, debt reduction. This is definitely going to be the hardcore details of this we're going to go through tomorrow night, but I want to make sure that we all understand the power of debt reduction. Now, remember, in the FICO scoring algorithm, 30%, a third of the pie, is based on the management revolving accounts. You have the power there. I mean, this is huge. Now, what we're going to go over tomorrow is how to set that up in a way, the debt reduction plan, that will maximize FICO score improvement potential, which we've talked about, the 1 to 3%, but it's more than that. I'm going to really lay out the plan for you guys. If you already have, like, let's say credit card debt, we're going to do it in a way that's going to allow you to save the most amount of money, improve scores the fastest, and get to that perfect management to maximize your overall potential. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to go through that with you guys. There's also times in debt reduction that if for any reason we're looking to restructure debt, let's say, like for overall more buying power, this is where student loans come into play a lot. We help a lot of people with student loans if they have a goal of being approved for a mortgage, that if that overall debt load and what the monthly obligation is, if there's opportunities to restructure that debt in a way to lower the monthly obligation that will be approved and accepted by the underwriters, we'll do things like that to also help with debt management, I would say, to build and create more buying power. Okay, so keep that in mind. That is something that is also available. And then we're talking about debt settlement. Okay, so remember, ideally after deletion, between 1 to 4 investigation rounds, we're going to focus on debt settlement on what's been deleted. Okay, what to do, how to do it, all that. Okay. Also, after that, we're going to be going into what's called a debt settlement phase. Now, we'll continue investigations and repair, but with that, we're going to have a certain ranking of priority based on what remains, on what to hone in on in settlement. And I'm going to talk about that soon when we get into the next page of debt settlement negotiation, but we're going to have a ranking of priority there. Okay. Now, it looks like we have a question, so I'm going to go ahead and bring that up right now. So we have, this may be early, but while we are waiting for the initial letters to process, should we still be saving to have the funds available for a set number and then focus on paying down current debt already on? Okay, that's a great question. Okay, I get what you're saying. So you're wondering, hey, we're new in the program, we're new in the process, we have debt that we want to pay down, when you're current on your debt, want to bring it down, but you also want to know, should you be focusing on savings for debt settlement, or should you hone in on debt reduction? Is that what you're saying? Let me see if she'll reply real quick. Yes, okay, that's what I thought. Okay, great. So here's what I think there. It depends. Now, when we all know that when we improve our credit profile and score, it opens up opportunity to save money. Okay, so with that being said, what I like to do with clients is I like to find out, based on your credit profile and goals, I'd like to identify things like that. Hey, if we get to a certain threshold improvement, what does that look like for overall potential savings? If that's something that exists, then ideally what we'd want to do is go super hard on repair, debt reduction to maximize score improvement to open up that type of opportunity. Because if we can lower overall, increase cash flow, lower your overall debt outgo, I should say, then we can then allocate that towards debt settlement as well. That's typically what I like to do. Now, if for any reason that may not exist in the short term, then what I'd like to do is really hone in on repair, of course, always. And then what we'll do is we'll put together a debt reduction plan, but we're going to make that plan maybe just take a little bit longer. Because remember, the 30%, the revolving piece is always there for us. It's not like that goes away. So we'll, as soon as those ratios lower over time, it will always bring up the score. I want to make sure that you have the ability to settle within a certain amount of time if something's deleted, to avoid the opportunity or the chance of it getting sold, re-reported, and then hurting you, because that's a bigger blow to recover from. So hopefully that makes sense. It really is, we have to evaluate both sides, okay? So what I would say there is definitely make sure, when you're new in the program, so you're gonna know this as you work with us, communication is so important. I talked about this in my last event. Communicate. Do not hesitate. Don't ever think that you're bugging us, obviously. And I would say it makes the most sense to utilize our online portal, the note section, or email support@yourcreditlife.com. Make those your two primary forms of communication. The reason being is this: if you do it that way, everything is automatically put in a history within your file for us. So it makes it very transparent for our entire team to always know what's going on. That's better for you, better for us. And then also, if there's anything that requires coaching expertise, we then can bring in the coach, the senior coach that you're working with in our team, to help make decisions for you and recommendations. Or if it makes sense to schedule a call, we'll do that. So leveraging my support team is the best for quickness of response, and also helping them navigate to always point you in the right direction. It's very sweet. Okay, cool. So if we talked about debt settlement, we're going to talk about the negotiation strategies here soon. But remember, ideally at first, it's after deletion within the first 1 to 4 rounds. Based on what's deleted, we want the opportunity to go in there, settle for the least amount possible. That's the initial phase of debt settlement. And then budgeting, okay? This is my favorite thing. I should change this word because I don't like the word budget. It's like the word diet. You know, people are just like, ugh, you know, I know I need to do it, but I don't really want to. I want to have pizza tonight. So it's, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like that. You know, to me, it's spending with the plan. Okay. So with that, it's just really gaining a better understanding. I always grab my comb for some reason. Jeez, it's like a mic. To me, it's gaining better understanding of what's coming in, you know, what's our income take home looking like, and what's going out, and really knowing what that looks like. Okay. When you gain clarity in what your outgo is, you now can start taking control of where you want that to be going. That is super powerful, because once you start using debt and income and credit as a tool to better your situation, you are going to just be blown away by what that does, not only by shortening the length of this process in general, but long term, it opens up so much opportunity all around. Because our goal for all of our clients is to help you achieve your goals, right? But if we can set you off in a way that your credit's there, your financial stability's there, you know how to position for lending and what your goals are, and you can take that long term to focus savings, debt reduction, getting out of debt, all this type of stuff. I mean, it really will open up this whole area for you that's extremely powerful. Here we go. Perfect. All right. So debt negotiation, debt settlement. All right. Here's a key term that I want you all to write down. Settle for less than full balance. Now, I don't know if you all have ever seen people talk about online, don't settle for less, that verbiage is bad, lenders don't like that, you know, all that type of stuff. Honestly, for the most part, that's completely bogus. The only time it ever matters is, let's say you're getting either a very niche type loan where they're very conservative, which is, even then, that's a little bit more rare nowadays. But in most cases, like let's say you want to reestablish a relationship, like with Amex or Navy Federal Credit Union, with, let's say you had an account with them directly. If you decide to settle for less than full balance, they then won't reopen up or allow you to reopen up a relationship with them. So if it's important to you, there's certain key accounts where we would just pay in full for that reason for the long term. Otherwise, paying for the least amount is the way to go at all times. You want to pay for the least amount possible, okay? Now, once again, ideally, the account's been deleted because at that point, we know the credit profile score and all that. We've done the right thing there, okay? The goal is to go in there and settle for the least amount. We want to save the most amount of money always. Now, remember, there's a couple things that happened here. One, if it was associated to an original creditor, that original creditor wrote that off as a profit and loss towards their tax liability. It was a tax mitigation thing that they have available to them. Okay, so don't feel like, I know that there might be a little bit of like a moral compass involved at sometimes where I know I did this, I know I had that, I just want to pay him back. I'm a very transparent person and I have a lot of morals as well, but I just know how it works in that industry and there's no need to do that, right? We want to sell for the least amount because they've written that off. And they can legally, technically pursue it, but just know we want to use that to our advantage, okay? Now, when it comes to collections, either they're a third party in a contract representing the original creditor. So at that point, they're an extension of that original creditor still. So it's the same thing. We want to negotiate for the least amount. Or they're a wholesale debt buyer type collection company that purchase debts in large bundles. This is where that term comes into play where they talk about pennies on the dollar. You got this for pennies on the dollar. Well, the reality is they got an overall bundle for a low percentage of overall what the total amount is, but it doesn't mean they don't get paid out on all of them. They just pursue that entire bundle. So what's important to understand is that even in that situation, a lot of times if they have a performing bundle, it actually opens up opportunities to get less settlements, which is actually really cool. Tyler had a question here, landlords too. So landlord in that situation, there may be, I'm not sure exactly of the tax mitigation strategies that might be available to them, but you can still usually negotiate if it went to collection. Like let's say if you were renting an apartment or a lease and had like a property management company and they sent it to collection, a lot of times you can still settle for a lesser amount. It's very rare not to be able to. There's certain companies that are extremely strict, and it's just nuts to me that they even do that, where they require payment in full. It's very rare. And then there's sometimes like with a credit union or something like that, if they're smaller, there might be times where they don't have as much room to settle for a lower amount just because the overall amount that they're working with and how they operate is less. So sometimes they want more. But other than that, settling for less than full amount is always on the table. So if it's with someone directly, just a landlord themselves, I would say then, in my opinion, it's really about negotiation at that point. You know what I mean? It's like if we know that it was with the person and that's like they reported it to like the rental bureau, maybe it's on the credit report, but it's on the rental bureau, let's say, or we just know it's out there. At that point, it's just negotiation dialogue to work, position yourself in a way to present a case, almost not like a legal case, but hey, here's what's going on. Here's what I did. Here's what I'm willing to offer you. If we go in with the specific numbers, I would always do that regardless to try to get the least amount. Hopefully that answers your question. We can always schedule a call too if it's more specific. Now, also, when it comes to debt settlement, you'll see here, it typically, if we can ever, strategize in this way, it's better to reach out at the end of a month or end of a quarter. Why do you think that is? It's because they're business. They have numbers to hit, right? They're a business, they're trying to make money. And so if you reach out towards an end of a month or end of a quarter, if any of you have been in like a sales environment, you'll notice end of month is always a big deal end of month push, end of month push. You know what I mean? Like that's a big part. So know that, use that to your advantage because it gives you a higher probability of getting on a phone with someone that is more willing to negotiate and get a deal done. It's as simple as that. Okay. Oh, I will answer that very soon, Juanita, about the percentage. Very, very soon. And so now that's where it comes in having a specific dollar amount in mind. That's also very important. The last thing you want to do is get caught up in a back and forth of pricing when you don't even know your starting point. Don't let them dictate the starting point. You come in. And remember, the goal is always come in low. The worst thing they can say is no. You want to come in low because we know more than likely we're going to negotiate up from there. Start low and I'll go up from there. Don't start in the middle knowing it's going to go up from there because in the end, we wanted to be here, but we ended here, right? It's very important. These are very valid strategies that get overlooked because they sound to some, at least to me, simple, but the reality is they work and they're very powerful. They are. So when it comes to a dollar amount in mind, this is where Juanita's come into play. I typically say this. If the account is less than $1,000, usually I would start at 30%. If it's less than 1,000. If it's a lower dollar amount in the world of collections, there's less room for settling for a lower amount. Just that gap, it's less. I would start around 30%, knowing it'll work up maybe to 50%. If it's really low, let's say 100, 200, you probably will end up around 70, 80, 90%. Sometimes you still can settle, but lower dollar amounts is going to be a little bit less of a gap. Now, as you get a higher balance outstanding, you want to start even lower. I would say that if we get above 1,000 towards 2,500, I would be going once again around that 20, maybe 30%, probably start 20, because once again, all they can do is say no. We want to start low and work up from there. Another reason why I like to do that is that let's say two things happen. One, they're a third party representing the original creditor. Well, when that's the situation, they'll have terms in place already in that contract of as low as they can go. And so what they typically will do, if you reach out the end of a month or end of a quarter, okay, when they're pushing to hit numbers and you come in low, typically what will happen is that rep will immediately counter to the lowest amount based on what they're allowed to authorize, like that usually. And you can feel confident to know if that's what happens, like they go up and they say, this is as low as I'm authorized to go, that's usually going to be a truthful statement. And you can feel confident to then go ahead and move forward with that as long as it meets a dollar amount that you're prepared to settle. Let me see. So when it comes to, I'll talk about pay to delete at the end of this page to kind of break down my thoughts around that. It's something that we want to do if it makes sense, but the negotiation around that's going to be a little bit different. So I'll bring that up here shortly. Now, another thing, let's say you have an account. This is more applicable in two scenarios. Let's say you have an account that's been deleted, or you receive a new collection notice, a dunning notice is what they call them. And the way that you know that is it'll be like, hey, we're ABC collection. That's originating from, whatever it is. Here's the amount. But important, at the bottom, it will always say, if you dispute the validity of this debt or portion thereof, you have 30 days to do so. Okay? And some other jumbo, that's the most important line. When you see that, that typically means it is a new collection or dunning notice. Okay? So 9 times out of 10, that's not even on your report yet. So in that case, in that situation, ideally what we'd recommend, either deleted or not yet reported, is to engage in debt settlement if we can right away. One, it's already been deleted to avoid the chance of it being sold and reported, as we talked about before. Or if it's a new collection, we want to prevent it from reporting. Okay. And so at that point, what we would do is go in still with that same, what I talked about here, having a specific amount in mind, up front in your mind. Hey, I'm going to start here, 20%, 30%, and I'm willing to go up to X amount. You know that you have a dollar amount in mind. and then you enter into that. Now, if for any reason we're not in a position to financially do a one-time lump settlement, even if we have savings there, and we really want to make sure it doesn't report or it's already been deleted, we don't want to re-report, don't be afraid of monthly payments, okay? If necessary, to avoid the debt from being sold and reported by a new collection company. Enter into an arrangement, okay? So once again, if you're working with us, we will help guide you through that. Now, if you receive a new collection notice or what you think might be, send that in to us right away. The best way to send that is setting that to results@yourcreditlife.com. Results@yourcreditlife.com. We have a full team that all they do is analyze that as it comes in. They make sure it goes to the appropriate place, and we can give action. Hey, if this requires action, we let you know. If it's something that we'll address in an upcoming round because it doesn't require action, you'll be made aware of that as well. So, but just know that you want to utilize us because we'll help you navigate through that, okay? Because debt settlement's all about timing. We want to save the most amount of money. We want to do it at the right time, knowing that it's going to get you to your goal efficiently and quickly, okay? Also, never disclose any wants or goals. Never. This is why you don't bring up payment for deletion. Don't bring up the fact you're trying to get a mortgage. Don't bring up the fact this is holding me back from something. Don't even do that. Because that rep's going to know that. Now they can pull on that emotion because they know you want something, okay? It's not even worth it. Keep it very black and white. Hey, they're going to go through the thing. This is an attempt to collect a debt, all that little mumbo jumbo. Okay, boom. All right, let's say it's $1,000. This is a great line that I would use every single time. Hey, I'm reaching out. I'm working on sorting through my debt. I want to go through and get right on these things. I want to get caught up. But here's the thing. I have no flexibility in my budget to do any sort of monthly payments. Okay, we're already very tight. Now I see that this is showing, this balance. I have $300. Will you accept that today to settle this in full? You just come in with what the amount is. I can't afford any monthly payments. This is all I got. Will you accept that? That's how you enter into negotiation for a one-time lump settlement for less than full balance. Keep it very specific on the numbers, your starting point. They don't need to know anything else. Now, if it's something that you're trying to prevent from being reported, but let's say the amount's a little bit higher. Let's say maybe it was a repo or something, right? And you still have a certain liability there that you're worried about. Well, one, I would actually still negotiate a settlement and enter what that is, and then bring up the fact that you want to do monthly payments. Now, if they go back and say, well, we can't do that, but we can do this, at least you're still entering to a plan that you're getting a settlement for a lesser amount with payments, okay? So remember that's an option. Real quick, we have a question here, so I'm going to touch on the pay to delete in 2400 here. And then also it says, side question, is there a video or class on how to use a client portal? Yeah, awesome. You know what's so funny? I'm creating that right now. I'm going to be putting all that together for everyone to make it easier. And we are going to be implementing this. The coaches are going to be doing this actually for all their clients. They're going to do their own workshop that's going to be for their clients to kind of help address questions. And in there, they're going to have a welcome workshop for new clients to actually live go through how to log into your portal, how to use it, all that. That's something that we're going to get started on very soon. We're pushing to get started on that next week. But I'm also putting together some video resources to explain that as well for our clients. Okay, cool. So now I think it was Juanita. Yeah. So 2400 is a pay to delete situation. So here's the thing. If we know they do payment for deletion, or let's say we want to know they do payment for deletion, we don't know yet. Here's the way that if we know we're going to enter into negotiations, something that we've agreed upon between the program and you, yes, let's do it because we know there's a reason. It makes sense. We want to do exactly what I talked about here. Specific amount in mind. Start low, work your way up, all that, okay? And then you bring up payment for deletion. Do you offer payment for deletion? Don't start with that because that would actually be qualified as a want. If you start, hey, I want to do payment for deletion for this, don't do that. Just keep it very specific to the numbers only. Then bring up the wants at the end when you've agreed upon a price. Okay, that's so important to do it that way. Okay, that will help out a lot. Now, Juanita, I don't know for sure. I'll have to take a look, but is this something that that we're saying, hey, let's go ahead and pull the trigger on that for a certain reason? Or are you thinking it makes sense to move forward with? Okay, you were advised. Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Is it something that was deleted, or we're saying, hey, we've gone through a few rounds, we're thinking we just pull the trigger and negotiate a low settlement? Is it already deleted, or are we saying pull the trigger and then just settle it for a certain reason? Do you know? Okay, so yes. All right, then we do exactly what I talked about there. We want to go in, so 2,400, oh, I don't have my calculator by me. I would start once again around 25%. Don't keep it exactly at 25% where it's like, a certain amount in cents or anything crazy, round it, so it's like a round number. Just for easy purposes, let's just say we'll do like, we'll just say $500, right? You start out say, hey, here's what I'm going, and with COVID that has happened, I would bring up, say, hey, look, COVID has impacted us greatly. I have no flexibility in my budget when it comes to payment plans. I can't do that, but I have $500 I was able to secure. Will you accept that today to settle this in full? And start there, work your way up. Once you come to a number that you feel good with, you're saving money, then bring up the wants. Also, do you offer payment for deletion? How does that work? They'll be able to tell you if that's a part of their protocol or not. If they say they don't, then that means they don't, but if they say, yep, that's how we do it, this is how it works, then they'll get right into it, because if it's part of their business practice, they're going to be able to speak to it right away. Okay. Definitely keep us updated as to how that goes. And also one more thing, if you want to, I know we're talking about it now, but if you're wanting more specific guidance to your profile and that debt, log into your portal or email support and just say, hey, I was on the 2-day workshop with Jared. He said to go ahead and email in. I'm looking to sell this debt that you recommended. Can my coach send me a video on how best to do that? Just boom, do that, because they'll speak specific, seeing your entire file in front of them. Okay, so definitely do that. Okay, perfect. Let's go on to this. All right. We're going to be going through this tomorrow night. I'm really, really excited about that. I want to go over the steps to money mastery, mastering your finances, spending with a plan. It's I heard a term today. It's so funny. It hit home like crazy knowing we were doing this tonight, and I loved it. It was on one of the people I follow on social media. They said, you want to get to the point where you put your money to work as hard as you work for it. I love that, because it's exactly how I feel. I've always said to everyone, we need to flip it. A lot of times people look at credit, debt, and all this as a negative. It's associated with something that happened in our past that's holding me back from getting what I want. It's a negative, right? My parents didn't teach me this. I didn't get this. It's negative, right? We're going to flip it to a positive. It's going to be a tool to get us to what we want, right? And that starts here, financial. It's so important, okay? Now, step one, setting up a financial plan, okay? We're going to be going over that tomorrow night. We're going to help you do that. The budget, what's coming in, what's going out, okay? Setting up that plan. Step two, we're going to start tracking expenses daily. Now, don't get overwhelmed by that. I'm sure you're going, what? With the app, it is so easy. Right from your phone. It's so cool with the app. Let's say you fill up gas. Go to the gas station, boom, filling up gas. Go to your phone real quick. You put in what you spent. Automatically updates to your overall spending plan, and it'll show you how much you have left in that category for the month. It's amazing. So all it really takes is tracking and getting the habit of doing that, okay? Now, don't get down on yourself if you don't do it perfect at first. It's just something you have to get used to doing, okay? But just make a commitment that you're going to do this, because I'm telling you right now, you're going to love it if you do it, okay? Step number 3, establish a savings app. Let me see here real quick. The money mastery. Yes. So money mastery that we have established for all of you. Yeah, no problem. You'll get access to that, but it also is an app, a phone app, which is really cool. We're going to step 3. We're going to establish a savings plan. Now, this savings plan for us in our program is going to be for a few different reasons. One, to be overall savings in general, which is great. Could also be for debt settlement. That's going to be a big one. I want to show you guys how we can do a savings plan for debt settlement, as well as if you're looking to be approved for a mortgage, we can evolve that into a savings plan for the mortgage as well, okay? Gaining clarity, I'm telling you right now, will empower you so much to realize that it's all within reach every single time. I know without a doubt in my mind. Step number 4, we're going to set up a debt payoff plan, okay? So initially, that debt reduction plan, and once again, it's going to be specific to your credit and your situation, but usually we're going to first hone in on any sort of revolving accounts, because that's where we can really squeeze in and maximize our point improvement potential. But then after that, later, after you secure and get to your goals, we can really elevate that plan as a whole as to actually paying off all of your debt strategically over time to reduce the overall term involved and reduce significantly the overall that you pay in interest. It's amazing. Step number 5, we got to learn the rules, right? Money mastery. What are the rules? So one, the first 4 steps are really more the actions that we're going to be doing. Step 5, and I'm going to show you guys this when I show you the website here in just a little bit. We want to learn the rules, right? So with Credit Life, you know you're working with us. There's certain things that we're teaching you when it comes to credit, debt management, credibility, and all that. It's going to be very nice to implement the money mastery principles as well at your own pace to just really understand, because the more that you gain that knowledge, it makes it so much easier to make informed decisions because you know what it's going to get you. You know, it's like when you know you have a goal and you've ranked those goals of what you're going after, when then you know the steps you're going to do to get there, it's so much easier to follow the plan, you know? And then step 6, remember, the rules are always changing. The reason why I bring this up is because it's so true. Things change, right? Your situation might change. Your goals might change. There might be changes in the market, okay? There might be just things that happen. So remember, the overall principles, for the most part, remain the same, but the specific rules that we're following through on your plan may change, and that's okay because your situation may change. And step number 7, the most important, not only for this, but in general, is never quit. Trust me, do not quit. One thing that I have noticed, even for myself, as adults, when we get frustrated or confused, what do we want to do? Most people want to quit. You know what I mean? It's like if we feel like we don't understand, like this isn't working and that and this, and remember, there's so much involved. Your credit in your financial situation impacts everything for the most part around you. Not just your ability to obtain things you want, but your security, your future. It improves the overall quality of life, or it could negatively impact it, right? So just remember one thing. It seems so simple, but so true. Never quit. Do not quit. That's why I love so much that you're working with us. And I really love the fact that we're rolling out all these workshops, because I want to give more. You know, I want to give you everything I know, and anyone I can pull in that I know is good. If I can get them to you too, I'm doing it, because I want to make sure I can continue to educate, empower, and direct and all that, so that way you don't quit. But once again, if you're ever feeling a certain way, my challenge to you is to first reach out to us and just let us know how you're feeling. You know, don't reach out and be like, I'm done, I'm canceling. Because usually that means you got frustrated, you're quitting, and you're not really giving us any room to figure out why, what's going on, and how can we help you. You know, so make sure you remember that. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Awesome. Now, I wanted to give you guys a couple reminders, all right? So, you know, what's next? All this great information. What do I do now? Well, we know tomorrow We're going to go through share screen. We go through some more stuff here real quick. But tomorrow we have day 2 with Alan Williams. We're going to start building all this out. In the meantime, now and ongoing, you really want to make sure you remember to email our support team questions if you have them at support@yourcreditlife.com. You can go into your client portal at yourcreditlife.com or creditlife.com. We have both. There's no T in Credit Life. That's why we have both URLs to make it easier so you don't forget. Because Your Credit Life, we merged them together. Credit Life is what we did there. But you can go into your portal, add notes, get what's going on there, or you can call us. I don't know if you guys know that. You can just call our client helpline at 612-444-3411. We have a team every day, Monday through Friday. Trust me, they will help you. Everyone on this team, we're all the same. We want to help, so it's great. And then once again, feedback is welcomed. I wanted to add this time. I would love to hear from you directly, any feedback. If this is your first event of mine that you've joined, if you've done any other, I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to text me or call me anytime. I always do my best to return texts and calls as quickly as possible. My direct line is 612-444-3426, 612-444-3426, or you can email me, Jared@yourcreditlife.com. I got 2 R's in Jared, Jerrad. And there we go. See, Kimberly knows that. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many things. That's why I like to bring this up, because not everyone knows that, So perfect. And, a lot of you, not everyone, but I have had the pleasure to work with some of you directly. What I do, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Credit Life. My favorite thing to do is work with clients. It is and has been and always will be my favorite thing to do. I love to solve problems. And I love to see the positive impact it has on our clients. I mean, I thrive off that. Truly, I do. So that's why I'm giving you my personal info here. If it's something I know my team can help, I'll tell you, hey, getting this over to Shirley, she'll help you. Hey, I'm going to get this over to Tyler, all that. But once again, if it's something I know I can jump in and assist you, I will. Okay, just know that. Okay, perfect. All right. Now, I got one more thing I want to show you guys real quick. Because I want to kind of go through like a quick little tutorial of money mastery and what it looks like. So I'm going to open up I had Alan just kind of create, I actually use money mastery myself. I have a different one that I had him open that I can use as to share, because the other one you guys would be going, holy smokes, Jared, you got all sorts of stuff going on. Trust me, I got a lot of bills too. so, and I have it all mapped out. That's what I was saying too, on a side note. When I told everyone in my videos what Alan's done for me personally, he really has. Like, I have been doing this for a long time. I have been in this industry before. My father's a broker in California. I was in real estate and mortgage. Then I transitioned into credit. I've been doing this now for 9 years, and I love it. And I've adopted everything I teach, I do. One thing that I noticed as I was just kind of getting in my career going, my company going, I've met a lot of people in financial industries, financial services, mortgage, real estate, all that. One thing that I have noticed is that most financial advisors, you would think, is someone you should go to help you figure out how to manage your debt to plan for retirement. It is very rare that they are even equipped to do that, and they probably don't even want to. The way financial advisors work is they want to help you. They get paid off your investment portfolio. So they want to just, take over. Hey, what do you got? I'm going to take it over, because they get paid commissions on that. And hey, what funds do we have to put in here? And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to any way like downgrade that. It's great for someone who is in that position to do that, because they're professional. They can make your money work for you. But if you're in that middle spot where it's like, I know I want to do that, but I have a company 401k, but I'm working on my credit, and I really just want to understand how to manage money so I can do those things. Well, that's what this is. That's what we're doing now. Like I have a huge focus on this area now, because I was able to take that in for myself, and with Alan's help directly. And what that has done for me has allowed me to do so much. I have been able to do so much for myself and my family, and it also positively impacted my business, because then I was able to take that knowledge of truly mastering money management to all things. And I just make better decisions because of it. and it's allowed us to grow. So that's why I want to make sure, like, I like working with that type of person who's like, hey, I'm in this area. Like, what do I do? Because those are the people that need the most education. It's true. It's like there's this huge sector that people don't even like tailor towards, and that's all of us. It's like, well, what the heck is going on? You get stuck in this area. So that's why I want to help people get out of that into the next level. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys Money Mastery. All right, perfect. So here is the site. So right now I'm showing you the actual site. So you can log into any site, any PC, laptop, tablet, whatever. Boom, here's the site. Now, when you go onto it, some really cool stuff that I want to show you. Just kind of breaks down. Alan has a really good podcast there that he did. I really liked it. The 10 money mastery principles right here that you're really going to learn more about, which is awesome. A lot of great testimonials of people. I mean, I love Alan's methodology. He's exactly like me. It's like, hey, I'm not here to tell you what you can't do. What I want to do is show you and find out what it is you want, and I'm going to show you how to get there. That's what it's all about. It's not my role to tell you what to do and what not to do. I'm going to tailor towards what it is that you want and show you the best way to get there. So it's really, really cool. But once you log in, should allow me to, okay, good. Sweet, it's working. Awesome. So when you log in to your portal, the very first page kind of looks like this. It's like a newsletter. You'll get some updates on here that they kind of put out. You should see our logo. Then you're in the right one. That means that it's the one that we're paying for, okay? And once again, what's really cool is we secured, just like we did with Smart Credit, we secured all the great stuff on here too. In this case, we were able to secure it even better. We're paying for this for you completely while you're in the program. So it's awesome. One really cool thing is I would check out My Education, okay? The first things that I would start out with is this right here, okay? The 7 steps to money mastery and the 10 principles of money mastery, okay? These are done like courses. So it's at your own pace. So I'd recommend, like, if you're, everyone's a little bit different. Sometimes, I mean, we have some clients that really get into this and I love it. But because there's that like waiting period in between rounds, that if you've done everything we've recommended in that round, you're kind of like, okay, what next? What next? Well, what I would do is go into here, and start working on this, because it's a perfect filler that 100% will positively impact you. So when you go into here, you just press get started. And then it's the first class. You just click on here. And then you watch this video. And then each one will open up the full deal. Okay. And you can track it. So you'll have your video and all the information on exactly what to do. And then when you're done, you can actually press, hey, I'm ready for more, next, or save, and it'll take you to the next course. So it's really well done. I mean, it's got some really good stuff here, and I would take your time with it. I've gone through all these myself, because when I first got started with Alan here, like, man, I think it's been like 3-4 years ago now. I spoke with him, I worked with him, but then I went through and did these all myself too. It really helped me get familiar. It really helped reaffirm everything that he was telling me, so I remembered it better. But on top of it, it helped me get familiar with the overall plan and also how to use the system better, okay? So I thought that was really important. Those are both really, really good courses that I would go through. They're awesome. And then also, dependent on your situation, this, if you're a business owner, this is actually super powerful. Some tax strategies for small businesses, I think, is awesome. We got a money mastery guide for real estate investing in here too. So if that's something that interests you, I would watch that. Investor trading, all sorts of stuff. So there's more than just these two. Start with these two. That's what you need to know. And then you can build off of that with additional information. We had all their courses open to you guys in this plan. And then here is where you're going to build out your actual plan, okay? So in here we have our sample plan. Now, to create a new plan is really simple. We're going to go over this tomorrow, but I want to show you now to make it easier, so that way we can get to the really good stuff tomorrow faster. But what you'll do is you just literally go in there, you press create a new plan, So in this case, we'll put myself, right? Put myself in here, Jared. I could put Katie, my fiance. I turn 36 tomorrow. It's my birthday tomorrow. So I'll be sharing my birthday with all of you. I'm excited. And then Katie's 36. Most cases, most people say 65 here. We leave this blank for now. Don't worry about that. Then you just press save. Boom. Okay. Now we have that created. We have that plan. Okay. Then what you do is you go into here, and now we're in that plan. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to click on spending. So you'll see that there's going to be automatic categories that are very common already in here that we can start working from. But the one thing that we're going to want to do right away is editing our income. Okay. So dependent on how you get paid, you're going to do current. You're going to start with current, not historical. Okay. Oh, I apologize. Just match them identical. But over time, we're going to keep track of historical data. So you would put in your actual gross monthly income. So the gross. So if you're paid W-2'd, what you'd want to do is take your W-2 and work off that information to figure out what your gross monthly income is, and actually minus all your taxes from there too. It's important to know what you're paying in taxes. Actually, it's very important. So I'd get in the habit of knowing that through your pay stub, and you just put it all into here. What's really cool is that over time, if this changes, the historical will stay the same, but as you, let's say you get a pay raise, a bonus or whatever, and this current starts to change, you would update that. And what's nice is it'll show you over time, an average of 12 months, how your income is changing. So it's really cool. You can keep track of that. But the most important is going to be current minus taxes, so you know what your take home is. So I'm just going to go ahead and put just a round number in here to keep it simple. I'm just going to do perfect. And I'll just make it the same for Katie. I just want you guys to see this. These are not solid numbers. I'm just being random here, but I just want you to kind of see how it looks. Perfect. Then we press save. Now it automatically shows us what our spendable monthly income is. Now, if any of you are paid off commissions or bonuses, or if you have like a fluctuation, you really want to then take your most 6 or 12 months if possible, for sure 6, and round out an average of what your take home was each month and make that your current. Because that's one thing, if you are paid like that, that's something that gets brought up all the time is, well, how do I budget when I don't know what I'm going to make that month? Well, what's nice is if you do it the way I just said, we know that the times that you make exceed what it is, as long as we always budget to the average, anytime you exceed it, we'll know exactly where we place those funds. So if there's ever a time that you go under, you pull from those funds to still balance your budget. So that's the best way of doing that. And then what we'll be doing here tomorrow is then once we have our income in there, we're going to go edit spending plan. And it's going to open up the actual piece here. And we'll walk through. So we're going to keep track of current. Everything is going to be current, okay? And it's going to show us. There's also carryover and all that. And the carryover is one, as you start tracking your expenses, there might be times that you're either over or under. Well, if you end up being under an expense category, that will carry over, and we track that. It's really, really, really cool. So we're going to help you kind of go through all this. And I know right now when you're seeing this, some people might be like, holy smokes. Honestly, it's super simple. We'll show you exactly how to go through it, and you'll be surprised. And Alan will really help bring this out of you because he's been doing this for over 30 years. It was amazing to me how easy it was for him to help me and our clients that have worked with him, like just bring this out. And our team, we've actually had him, I brought him into our team too. So it's just been phenomenal. So that's what we'll be doing there, okay? Once we get all that done, Let me go back over to here. Sorry. Once we have all that done, we're going to be able to see exactly what we're spending versus so income versus expenses. The first goal that we want to make sure is that we're able to balance out not only this, but also our debts. So you're actually, when we get to the portion where we start filling out our debts, that will also transpose into here in a certain category. So, because we want to make sure that we know, are we able to balance our budget? That's number one. Can we balance it? In most cases, I'll tell you this, almost every single time with everyone I've done this with so far, we've always been able to balance it. In fact, a lot of times we identify areas that we've been overspending that make it even easier to balance and start placing towards things that help us get to our goal. Now, if for any reason we find that you're unable to balance, that's something that's also important to understand, because at that point we might have to make either one, sacrifices to make it balance, or number two, the only other way there is figuring out how can we increase our income. And I think that's an important conversation to have. I bring that up with people all the time. There are ways to do that, and it might be something worth considering if it's something that comes up. Alan will touch on that more, all the different things, but that is something that seems so, like when you hear, well, of course, I'd love to raise it, but there's actually a lot of things that you could do to help raise your income. Okay, so this is going to be really, really cool. We'll also have the debts. We'll fill out the debts. That part's really easy. We put the name, interest rate, what the monthly payment is, what the balance is, all that. We're automatically going to calculate. This will be done automatically at how to accelerate the payment based on the spending plan. That'll all be easily calculated. And then with that, we'll also have savings. We can create an investment and savings plan, a retirement plan. I mean, literally. So initially, though, we're going to focus on income, spending, debts, and a little bit into savings. Those are the most important, knowing where you're at in our program. But as you use this tool, you'll want to expand on your savings more and even into your retirement. It's amazing, okay? And you're going to get a ton of really cool reports that once this is filled out, that will really open up your eyes when it comes to the opportunities surrounding debts. So let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to go over to this example, and I'm going to go over to debts. So you'll see here in this case, this person has Visa. We have some medical in here, Discover, credit card, furniture, auto, mortgage, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to run a get out of debt report, okay? You may not be able to see this yet because it's on a different screen, but I'll get it over to you here shortly. So I'm going to run this report here. Perfect. I'm going to save this. Awesome. And now I'm going to run one more get out of debt report where we are going to have and I'll save that. Perfect. Okay, so let me stop sharing this. I'm going to show one more thing here. Okay, cool. I'm going to share this screen. So this is just one sample of a report that'll automatically get generated to show you, as we put together our debt reduction plan, we actually put together a report to show us, based on what our debt load is. This one includes a mortgage, auto, and all that, monthly payment, all that. Well, part of the model is there's a power down model. And so a lot of times people will do either what's called like a cascading debt reduction plan or snowball. A lot of times we lean towards the snowball because it's a little bit easier. And actually it's very effective still, but we'll start with a lower principal balance account with a lower payment. Once that's paid down, we then take that 55 and power down to the next one, which increases that overall payment to pay that off faster. And you'll see how that trickles down, right? So by doing that simple power down, okay, Nothing additional. Like if we just stayed the same, so to speak, you would have had, if you only made your minimum payments, it'd take 29.5 years to pay this off. Okay. Obviously, the mortgage is a big part of that. Just by using this power down alone, brought that down to 9.25 years. Look at that. That's absolutely insane. And it's so simple. The only reason why people aren't doing this is because they're not working off a plan. I truly believe it. Because if we have a plan and execute, you're going to see how easy this actually is. And then look what it does in overall savings by your retirement age in this example. If then we take that same amount of obligation once it's paid off towards retirement, it's $1 million in the bank right there. It's absolutely phenomenal. Here's another one I ran. You want just do an additional $100 to pay things down faster. You'll see how just that additional $100 brought it down even lower. So just kind of something simple to show you, but it's really cool. Like, I don't know how many of you, let me just ask, how many of you, like, who's liking this right now? Like, is this making sense? I see yes, definitely. Awesome. I love it. I want to make sure you guys understand that our initial focus will be very specific to debt management, exactly what we're working on. I don't want us to stray from that. I don't want us to think too much and get outside of what our plan is. We're going to get you to your goals first. I know the vast majority of that's mortgage. I know it. Once we secure the mortgage and you get what you want and where you want to be, I want to make sure I give you guys everything possible to reduce that, to do what I just showed you. Instead of it being 30, it's 9 years. I'm telling you right now, another thing I learned is working with all these financial advisors. It is very common people are outliving their retirement right now. I mean, there are so many people that as they're getting older, they realize, holy smokes, this is a real thing. Like, I need to really get this going. My father is an example of this. We've been having this conversation. He's worked so hard. He's done very well in his life. And yes, he's put funds away. But what happened was he did what the financial advisor had said to do, right? But he didn't have any sort of like active communication with them, rarely heard from him. And what he had initially put in, yes, it built up. But he wasn't on a plan that he understood what he was doing and had accountability often to know where he's at. And then all that time just went by and he's working, he's doing well, he's doing that house, paying off house and all that. And he's realizing, I'm short to my goal. I got to ramp this up. Now he's aggressively putting funds away because he's trying to make up for that time. So I know everyone's situation is different. I'm just bringing that up after we get to your goal, that the better you start managing your debt and always spend with a plan, it's going to be amazing what it does for you. I mean, it will empower so much. So I'm super, super excited. I love the fact, man, we had a lot more people join us. I love it. I just, once again, thank you all for taking time tonight with me. I know it's great information, of course, but it's not always the most fun. We could be watching, some show on Netflix or something, but this is good stuff. I really like that you guys are all committed and motivated to be doing this. Now, tomorrow, I want to make sure everyone's ready. So for everyone that's on here, if you didn't hear this before, if you have not yet been able to log into Money Mastery, I need you to do the following. 1, search your email for Money Mastery. Search like the all mail or whatever you can. Okay. Then you should have received like a welcome email for Money Mastery and how to log in. If you can't find that, go to moneymastery.com and then the site that I just showed you, click on login and then do the forgot password function that should be associated to your email. That should work. If that doesn't work, please email support@yourcreditlife.com so my team can get on that right away for you tomorrow so you're prepared to be able to log into that by tomorrow night, okay? I hope everyone's able to join us tomorrow night as well. I know other people emailed me saying they're going to join tomorrow. They couldn't tonight. I will be packaging up this event. We're going to edit it down to make it a replay, a pretty trimmed down, easy to watch replay. So I will be sending that out once we complete our event too, my team and I. So that way you guys will have access to that too. But yeah. Yep. Oh, thank you, Juanita. Yes. info@moneymastery.com. You'll want to search for that. I really appreciate that. That will be the email it comes from to help you guys get logged in there and get started. So awesome. Everyone good? You guys like it? I really appreciate it. I love it. I'm having so much fun with everybody. So thank you again. If you need anything, reach out, support@yourcreditlife.com. Definitely remember that email for whatever you need, especially for this stuff. Let's get all over it. Thank you all again for your time tonight. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Get ready to get down. We're going to get in it. We're going to start building out that spending plan. Have a good night, everybody.